Well, howdy there, folks, and welcome into today's video. Hope you guys are doing great out there. As always, look at we're in Arizona. Welcome to Arizona. You know I'm in Arizona when I got the helicopter above my head, okay? It's hot in Arizona. You gotta always run fans, all right? So anyways, guys, we got a lot to discuss in today's video, okay? We're gonna discuss this stock that have over $350,000 in, and what is the news in relation to this? Because there's some massive news in relation to this stock, and I mean massive, okay? And this news came out late last week, but here's the deal. I didn't really want to talk about it because I wanted to really fully wrap my head around this. This is such a huge deal for this company, and they're spending a lot of money on this deal essentially, that I wanted to be able to speak on this on a I would say educated level, and why this is such a big deal. And so I've been kind of researching over the weekend, spending some time on this one, and now I'm finally ready to kind of talk about this deal and what this means for the stock overall, which I think is very, very important, because a lot of folks, they might have seen this deal, they might not have seen this deal, but what does this actually mean for the stock price over the coming years and things like that, guys? So yeah, I hope you enjoy this video. Hope you enjoy me kind of going in depth on this and explaining all these different elements and the research work that went in behind the scenes in relation to kind of trying to figure out how big of an opportunity this is for this particular company. So all I ask in return is that you guys smash that like button. That helps that huge YouTube algorithm. It lets me know you guys appreciate a video like this, where we go into some research in depth on a subject and me explaining why this is such a huge deal for this particular stock. Okay, so yeah, hope you guys enjoy this. By the way, if you want to check out our brand new course, just launched very recently here, How to Invest Like a Pro in 24 Hours or Less, check out the pinned comment down there. And we also just launched a brand new text service, essentially, where if you text me, I'm going to try to get back to 5 people a day. Ask me a stock market related question. It might be way more volume than I can personally handle. So, but I'm going to try my best to get back to 5 people a day, and that's the goal. And so that will also be down there as pinned comment. Alrighty, guys, let's get into this here. So the stock is The Planet, okay, which is a $4.92 stock. And this is not a stock that is very talked about outside of probably my channel, and not a mainstream media stock or anything like that. But there's some massive news that came out, and I want to explain this in detail. I have, over $350,000 in the stock. Here I got $251,000. Here I got $49,000. Here I got $22,000, and then $31,000 there in the Planet. And those are my Planet shares. I've been a shareholder now for probably about a year and a half, roughly. And obviously, we've done very well on the position, and I've actually averaged up on the position many different times when I've been in the stock, especially in my big dog account. That one I've averaged up on several different times. That's why the percentage gain isn't as crazy as some of these other accounts. Let me see. One of these accounts, I think this account here, I never averaged up on. So the percentage gain is the biggest, but look where the dollar amount's the biggest, right? So some food for thought there, okay? Now, before we get into this huge news, I just want to cover, because I know not a lot of people, pay attention to this stock or know about this stock. I just want to explain something. Why is this stock went on a crazy run over the past, almost 2 years now, right? Well, essentially, this is a company that they had one superstore in Las Vegas. Then Rona comes February into March of 2020, right? Next thing you know, Vegas has to completely shut down. The strip completely shuts down. And there was a lot of folks that thought the Planet was going to go out of business. Literally the stock was going to go to zero, okay? And so stock sells off. I think it reached lows of 60 cents or 80 cents or something insanely low, because a lot of folks just felt like this was it for the company. They're going bankrupt. The store is closed. No one knew if the store was going to have to be closed for, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, or years. Like at that time, there was a lot of people thinking maybe the economy was going to be shut down for years or something like that. People didn't really know, right? There was a lot of fear in the market. So stock dropped under to $1. And then essentially what happened is the company pivoted to delivery and curbside pickup for their product, for the Las Vegas market, right? And this helped the business create some cash flows, keep their employee force and things like that. Next thing you know, Vegas starts to open back up at least a little bit in the back half of May of 2020, right? And then throughout that summertime, I would go, drive by the location and whatnot. And I was already investing in it at this point. And the place was busy, really, truly busy. And so you had a situation where, oh my gosh, this place is getting busier and busier. And now they have curbside pickup. Now they have delivery of their product as well. And next thing you know, the stock starts to go up more and more. The numbers start to come out and they're crazy good. Last year, there was a point last year where analysts expected this company to have negative 50% plus revenue growth. And then the company ends up, blasting those numbers way better than anybody expected. Not just like way better, but way, 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 way better than anybody expected. And next thing you know, the stock is starting to fly high. They raise more and more money. They open up their Medicine store, which is also in Vegas, a smaller format store. Then they announced they're going to open Orange County store. They opened the Orange County store, and the rest is history. And they've obviously raised a lot of money along the road, and they've had 9 figures plus of cash on the balance sheet as they, raised money. Okay. And so this went from a company, this is sometimes how you get these crazy moves up in a stock, where you get a company that was literally folks thought was going to go bankrupt, to all of a sudden, oh, they're not going bankrupt, but they're also not just in a healthy place, but their business is booming. And it happens like that. Okay. And I applaud the management team, because this business, let's be very darn clear, they could have went out of business. This could have been a $0 stock. The management team got this company through to the other side to fight another day. And my gosh, have they thrived? And now this company's in a position where they actually have the potential to become a Jack Jackson giant, okay, a cannabis giant. And that is extraordinary when you consider it wasn't that long ago that this stock was seemed like it was going to go bankrupt, okay, and this company is going to go bankrupt. So huge deal, right? But we have some massive, massive news that came out, okay? So I want to explain exactly Florida for a minute and the cannabis market in Florida, because I think this is really, really important to understand what exactly is going on here and why is this such a big deal, okay? The coastal state's journey to cannabis legalization has been a challenging one. In 2016, over 70% of people in Florida voted for a constitutional amendment to allow the use of cannabis for medical purposes. However, in 2017, legislation that created the state's legal medical cannabis framework, then Governor Rick Scott banned smoking medical cannabis. It wasn't until March of 2019 that Ron DeSantis, the current governor of Florida, lifted the ban on smokable marijuana. In the face of these challenges, the Sunshine State has developed one of the most attractive medical cannabis markets in the country. In fact, Florida's medical marijuana space is one of the fastest growing in the country, okay? In the country. Florida's medical cannabis high growth market. Florida's large population, the third biggest in the United States, is a factor in the attractiveness of the cannabis market. The state is also the 4th largest economy in the U.S. with a GDP of over $1 billion in 2020. And that was on a down year, right? In 2020, the ArcView Market Research and BDS Analytics show that U.S. legal cannabis industry is expected to grow by 18.2% between 2019 and 2025 to reach $33.9 billion. Florida ranks among the jurisdictions that will contribute the most to that growth. The total addressable market, or total available market, TAM, is one of the most critical factors for any industry, states Dustin Robinson, founding partner of Mr. Cannabis Law, in an article written for Green Entrepreneur. Florida's MJ industry happens to be one of the strongest TAMs in the world, he says. As of June of 2021 update from Florida Health's Office of Medical Marijuana Use, okay, the state had 569,450 qualified medical marijuana patients and 2,542 qualified physicians. This market is a large one, needless to say, okay? In 2017, Florida's medical marijuana law established a cap on the number of medical marijuana dispensaries and required that each one center be vertically integrated. They all had to manage their own operations from cannabis cultivation and processing to distribution and sales. The cap on the number of dispensaries expired in April of 2020, while the vertically integrated requirement portion of the law underwent a 3-year court battle. The Supreme Court of Florida recently upheld the legislation, meaning that this requirement will continue to shape Florida cannabis market for years to come. During a panel discussion, Steve Hawkins, not the other one, okay, CEO of Horizons ETF Management Canada, said he views vertical integration as one of the key benefits for U.S. companies compared to the Canadian cannabis market. Only players that have been able to develop cannabis production, manufacturing, distribution capabilities can compete in the marketplace. Oh, what MJ company meets that criteria? Oh, it's the Planet, vertically integrated across the board. Okay, big stuff here. As of March of 2021, the state had 22 licensed medical marijuana treatment centers, okay, and 5 laboratories licensed for the third-party testing. The low number of licenses currently awarded creates high entry barriers, okay? Because you can't just get a license that easy, right? Which is a big plus for the currently operating companies that are already established and have a strong foothold in the market. Remember, guys, keep all this I'm telling you in the back of your head because it's all going to make sense in a big way in just a second, okay? Barriers, big entry barriers, right? Robinson believes that, quote, the 22 licenses are a great position to build multi-billion-dollar companies in Florida's growing marijuana industry, okay? Multi-billion-dollar companies just in Florida's growing marijuana industry. Keep these numbers in the back of your head, okay? These 22 established licenses will also have an advantage if and when recreational cannabis becomes legal in the state. In Florida, the medical marijuana license also allows current MMTCs to build out as big of a footprint as possible in preparation for adult use, recreational legalization, okay? So these licenses are huge, and the companies that are vertically integrated will benefit the most, obviously, from this. And companies that get a strong foothold in Florida are going to have a massive advantage for the recreational market when recreational is allowed out there, right? And you put all these things together, this is huge, okay? And so if you think about it, right? The Florida market could make a lot of dang sense for the planet to be interested in entering this market, right? But the problem is, it's not easy to get one of those licenses. It's actually incredibly hard. There's only 22 of those licensed, medical marijuana treatment centers, right? That's tough, right? Well, the Planet does tough stuff, okay? The Planet, a leading vertically integrated national cannabis company, announces that it has entered in a definitive license purchase agreement with a subsidiary of Harvest Health and Recreation, which is the seller, okay? And that's also a public company, pursuant to which a newly acquired subsidiary of the company to be renamed Planet 13 Florida will purchase a license to operate medical marijuana treatment centers issued by the Florida Department of Health to the seller, and no other assets or liabilities from the seller for $55 million in cash, okay? Now, first off, let's address the elephant in the room, okay? $55 million for no assets, just a license. I thought when I first read that, and this is another reason why I want to do more research on this, because I was like, that seems like a really large number, like $55 million. A company had, 9 figures of cash, but I think it was 140 mil or so. So you take 55 mil away, all of a sudden now we're under 100 mil in cash, right? So I thought, wow, 55 mil seems like a lot. But then I did a little research on this. And what I have found is a ton of these licenses have been sold, in different markets for, we're talking 50 mil, 60 mil. I've seen some even around 70 mil or so. Okay. So the number is not that crazy. And especially when you think about the long-term opportunity and how limited it is. And this is another huge barrier to entry because there aren't a lot of, cannabis companies that just have $55 million sitting around, basically in just cash that they can go ahead and buy one of these licenses. So if you think you're just going to be a mom and pop and pop up in this market or something like that, good luck to that, okay? That's all I'll say about that. You better have a whole lot of money behind you and a whole lot of connections and influence, all right? Now, let's get into this a little deeper. What's the plan here? Licensed medical marijuana treatment centers are vertically integrated and the only businesses in Florida authorized to dispense medical marijuana cannabis to qualified patients and caregivers. MMTCs are authorized to cultivate, process, transport, and dispense medical marijuana. As of August 26, 2021, there were 22 companies with MMTC licenses and 371 dispensing locations across Florida. License holders are not subject to restrictions on the number of dispensaries that may be opened or the number of size of the cultivation and processing facilities they may operate, okay? So you're looking at these 22 companies are in prime position in Florida, right? They're in prime position because they're not limited by what all the other players are limited by when it comes to all these sorts of things. So if you have one of these licenses, it's a huge deal. We can't overstate that enough. It is a massive, massive deal. When I first read it, I was like, 55 mil for a license. And then you start understanding the numbers behind it. And you understand how big of a deal it is to be one of those 22 companies. And you start to figure out and you start running the numbers up and you're like, oh my gosh, this is actually crazy huge opportunity, right? Florida has long been one of the most coveted markets with over 20 million residents, 130 million annual visitors, and incredible consumer demand already demonstrated in the medical program. It was important for us, this is Planet talking, it was important for us to enter the market prior prior to a transition to adult use, which is basically recreational use, to put the pieces in place to capitalize on this market in both the short and long term, said Larry Scheffler, co-CEO. This is something I love about the company. They're not just focused on the short term and running up the numbers in the short term. This company's focused on the long term and the long term visions of hopefully building this company into a multi-billion dollar company, if not a $10 billion plus company over the coming years, right? They're focused on not just the next year, they're focused on the next 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, which I think is really important. We are excited to introduce our best in class retail experience and portfolio of popular products to the Florida market and continue to build the Planet 13 brand across the United States. Remember, we just heard them doing a deal essentially very recently in Chicago, right? Now they're doing this deal. I mean, it's setting up like 2022 and 2023 could be big years for the company in terms of opening new stores, all right? Massive. After a lot of planning on how we wanted to approach this market, now is a time for action. We are well capitalized to compete with the initial build out of our cultivation and retail plan, which includes a network of neighborhood stores in priority metro areas to support future superstores in Miami, Orlando, and other tourist destinations, said Bob Grosbeck, co-CEO of the company. We have a successful track record of completing large retail and cultivation build-outs on time and on budget, and that is true. This expertise combined with our differentiated, experience-driven retail and diverse product portfolio gives us confidence moving in the Florida market. And we're talking about this is one of the biggest markets you could possibly get in this space, if not, the biggest over the coming years. So this is a massive deal. Other than maybe California, I can't think of a bigger market I would want to be in over the coming years than honestly Florida, okay? This is absolutely a crazy big deal, right? The company just announced they're going to be building 3 similar marijuana superstores in Florida, Orlando, Miami, and Tampa. Planet 13's Las Vegas location has been open for just over 2 years. It's been quite the tourist attraction. 126,000 people came through the front door last month, said Larry Scheffler, the Planet's CEO there. Okay, so this puts the company in a position now, right, where they're set up to thrive in Florida for years and years to go in the future, as long as they execute now, right? They have the license, they're ready to rock and roll. So now it's just about execution. Now, what is the level of confidence I found around this company executing and doing a great job in Florida and building up revenues and then building those revenues into big profits, right? Well, based upon what we've seen over the last few years from the Planet and being put in an incredibly hard situation and making it through that situation and thriving, and we see the type of management team this company has, I have no disbelief at all that this company will not do anything other than thrive in Florida over time, okay? And now you're looking at a company that is set up to become a giant, okay? That's why I got Andre the Giant here. There's no doubt in my, I've always, as I've invested in this company, the thing that has excited me more and more over time is the fact that this company's setting up to become an MJ giant, right? There's going to be, like I've talked about in regards to this industry, there's going to be, I wouldn't be surprised if there's, 20, 30, 40 companies that have $1 billion plus valuations in this industry over time. And there's going to be some companies that have, there already are some companies, but there's going to be a lot more in the future that have, 10 billion, 20 billion, 50 billion, if not $100 billion type valuations on some of these companies, right? And if I look at who are some of the best positioned companies out there, in my opinion, the Planet is among those right at the top. When you look at the execution the management team has had, when you look at the capitalization of this company, when you look at the products and services they have out there and how much people love those, right? And so, and I think about their vertically owned brands, how vertically integrated it is. Everything is lining up here for the Planet to become a giant in the future, guys. And that's what really excites me about this one. So I'm super pumped for it. I can't wait to see, what they do in Florida over the coming years. Obviously, they got a Chicago location coming as well. A lot of huge stuff, okay? And I'm a proud shareholder of this company. If anything, I'll be buying more of the stock before I ever think about selling the stock. Let's just put it that way, because the long-term opportunity here is massive for this company, and it's sitting around a $1 billion market cap. And I'm looking at this company and I'm saying, I think they definitely have potential to be a 5 billion, 10 billion, if not bigger than that type company in future years, guys. So hope you enjoyed this video. As always, if you want to check out our brand new course, How to Invest Like a Pro in 24 Hours or Less, check out the pinned comment down there. If you want to text me any stock market related questions, I might also have that as a pinned comment down there, and try to get back to maybe 5 questions a day. Much love as always, guys, and have a great day.